August 2nd, 2023. I am the Fat Cat, and this is Music from the Basement. The year is 1985. The WWF, as it was known back then, was in a full swing takeover of the entire Earth, it seemed like. Such huge superstars as Hulk Hogan, Roddy Piper, the Junkyard Dog, Andre the Giant, Macho Man Randy Savage, just to name a few. Somewhere around this time, Vince McMahon, the godfather of wrestling, let's say, had this fantastic idea of joining pro wrestling and rock and roll into one major show. This show aired on a fledgling cable network known as MTV. Now, for those of you that don't know, MTV, before it was all Real Worlds and stupid game shows and whatever reality TV that was happening during this era of it, used to play what was called music videos all the time. So MTV got together with Vince McMahon and they created what was called the Rock and Wrestling Connection. They had this huge wrestling show with all the big stars, and MTV helped them record the wrestling album. Now, the wrestling album was out of November in 1985. I remember this because I had the vinyl LP, which was the only way you could listen to this album. This was before tapes, CDs, whatever. It was just on vinyl. There were 13 songs on it, and the label for this was Epic. So before we go any further, Epic copyrighted all this music in conjunction with Titan Sports, also known as WWF. There you go, disclaimer, moving on. Without further ado, a retrospective of the wrestling album. So we're going to take a look back at all the great music on this album back in 1985. So we'll play little snippets of it to give you an idea of what the music was like, if you hadn't already heard it. This first song on the album was done by a wrestler known as the Junkyard Dog. In the 1980s, he was one of the premier stars that came out of the WWF, now known as the WWE. The Junkyard Dog was born December 13th, 1952. He was a professional wrestler and college football player, best known for his work in Mid-South Wrestling and, of course, the WWF. The Junkyard Dog, incidentally, was the nickname he received while working in a wrecking yard. You gotta love that. The song is called Grab Them Cakes. It's pretty much self-explanatory. Now keep in mind, this was the 1980s, so that being the case, let's try to sit back, relax, and just enjoy. The Junkyard Dog, Grab Them Cakes.
Well, I started this dance in my neighborhood. Now everybody's doing it because it feels so good. All you need is a partner that know how to move, and the rest is real easy. Just dig the groove. And when you get yourself started, it's hard to stop. You just go for your partners. You know what? And then you GRABTAGFCAKES. Ah, grab them cakes.
Oh, what's that all you do?
Grab them cakes.
And listen, I don't care what it takes.
Grab them cakes.
Oh, I feel when you do it to me.
Grab them cakes. Oh, yeah. This is the old talking to your mama.
Oh my. That is definitely one of those songs that'll get you in trouble nowadays. Can you imagine that playing on your local music station? The Calls. Okay, track number 2. This is the one that you're probably most familiar with, as it is the biggest wrestling star of the 1980s theme song. Talking about Hulk Hogan. The song is called Real American, and actually it was written for 2 other wrestlers as a tag team, Mike Rotundo and Barry Windham, who called themselves the Real American. Well, Vince McMahon actually heard the song for the first time, thought this would be great for our main star Hulk Hogan, and the rest is history.
I am a real American, fight for the rights of every man. I am a real American, fight for what's right, fight for your life. When it comes crashing down and it hurts inside, you gotta take a stand, it don't have to hide. If you hurt my friends, then you hurt my pride. I gotta be a man, I can't let it slide. I am a real American, fight for the rights of every man. I am a real
that song really encapsulates my childhood back then. I could not think of any other star more cool to me than Hulk Hogan. Another iconic wrestling, or at least wrestling manager, is a man called Jimmy Hart. Jimmy, the Mouth of the South. One of the premier wrestlers' managers. Now, back then, managers were as common as the wrestlers. They were, again, part of the show. They acted like they gave counsel to the wrestlers. In most cases, the bad guys were there to interfere with the matches, so the bad guys would win. Well, this one actually had some musical talent and did a song called Eat Your Heart Out, Rick Springfield. Rick Springfield, of course, the author of Jesse's Girl and other fine hits. This is one of those that really caught me by surprise as being kind of a catchy tune. So you judge for yourself. Here's Jimmy Hart.
Ring, ring, hello, hello, hey, is Cindy in? No, who is this? What do you mean, who is this? This is Jimmy Hart, the Mouth of the South. Where is she? She's going to the Rick Springfield concert. Rick Springfield?
Song, right? I don't know whether to be offended or just snap along to it, but you never know how you're going to feel when you hear songs like that. Now, this next one is really kind of a strange song, so I only played a small clip of it, done by Captain Lou Albano. Now, Captain Lou Albano was one of the stars in the WWF who had actually crossed over into kind of a mainstream MTV video star. He did a couple of videos with Cyndi Lauper. They had some really good chemistry and laughed and joked together, so she put him in a couple of videos of hers. Also, he was Mario in the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, which was one of my favorite shows, and actually, I'm not going to lie, I still watch it today with my 19-year-old son. I'm not proud. George the Animal Steele, another wrestler who didn't talk that much, or well for that matter, which is funny considering that he was actually a teacher as well as a professional wrestler. Huh, go figure. So check it out. Here's Captain Lou, The Journey of Captain Lou Albano.
You go! Hey!
You know, George, it all started back before the beginning of time, when the windy wind blew through the trees and banged against the rocks, creating a beat.
Confused? Yeah, me too. I never was actually sure what that song meant or why it existed, but it was good enough to make the album, evidently. As we were talking about earlier, Hulk Hogan had a theme, The Real American, which is the most iconic of the wrestling themes, especially on this album. Originally, he had a different theme. Now, anybody who watched Saturday morning cartoons, and we know we all did if you're old enough to do so back in the 1980s, there was an MTV-produced Hulk Hogan cartoon show. It was called Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling and had all the wrestlers, bad guys and good, fighting each other in this fantastic animated series, which lasted 2 seasons. I'm not exactly sure what the episode count on it, but you can go back and check it out. They still play it on YouTube. This is Hulk Hogan's very first theme song, The Rock and Wrestling. Hulk Hogan, the head cheese, the big man, the champion, the quintessential good guy of the WWF. Now, every good guy, they need a bad guy. It's just how it works. Rowdy Roddy Piper was one of the best, if not the best bad guy. He was dirty. He was down low. He will do anything to win. His iconic bad boy attitude has been taken into the future by Ronda Rousey, who is now known as Rowdy Ronda Rousey on WWE TV. This song is called For Everybody. It's a little rough. Roddy wrote it himself, but enjoy.
I used to worry about what people thought about me. Now I don't care less. They should play the sheet. They said I was stupid. They said I was strange. Well, maybe I am, but I'll never change. The woman I like me, but that's okay. There's only one thing I'd like to say, yeah. For everybody.
All right. There weren't just wrestlers that were part of the wrestling album. Actually, one of the most well-known personalities on any wrestling program is the interviewer. Now, the interviewer will take you through everything a wrestler's going to do. If a wrestler can't talk, the interviewer will pull it out of them. If they could talk, the interviewer would just pull back and stay out of the way. One of the best interviewers in the game was a man named Mean Gene Okerlund. He interviewed everybody in the business, worked for every wrestling company, and in my opinion, one of the best talkers ever to be in the wrestling game. Now, this is a great song. He did a cover of the 1955 Little Richard hit, Tutti Frutti. There's a little spin on it, but it's a lot of fun to listen to. As an interviewer, fantastic. As a singer, meh. But go ahead and form your own opinion. Here's Mean Gene. Was bound to happen. Here comes the country song on the album. Hillbilly Jim, one of the most beloved wrestlers of his time, best friend of Hulk Hogan, and one of the biggest men I've ever seen in my entire life. I believe he was 7 feet tall, weighed well over 300 pounds, muscled out, big beard, had overalls, and a straw hat. A little stereotypical, but at the same time, we've seen those people with the overalls, no shirt, and a straw hat. More recently than we'd like to talk about. Don't go messing with a country boy. Here's Hillbilly Jim.
Don't go messing with a country boy, a country boy, a country boy. Don't go messing with a country boy, don't mess with a country boy. When I was a little bitty boy, baby, I cut my teeth on a big old tree. Mama filled my bottle for my moonshine still. My first meal was the bear she killed. Oh, yeah, she killed, the bear she killed. My first meal was the bear she killed. Well, I grew, and by the time I was 10, I was 6 feet tall and a man among men. Now I love my work and I love my play. I hate the fool that'll get in my way. Get in my way, get in my way. I hate the fool that'll get in my way. With a country boy, a country boy, a country boy. Don't go messing with a country boy, don't mess with a country boy.
I'm gonna say it. It's a catchy song. Nikolai Volkov, who, when he started out, was one of the most hated villains in WWF history. By the time this album comes out, he has changed his ways and become a fan favorite. This song is one of the ones on this album that I felt was actually very well done for somebody who doesn't have a recording contract or isn't really a singer at all. It is a cover of the Jay and Americans' 1955 classic, Cara Mia, which surprises me to no end. I heard this the other day for the first time as I was going through these songs, and I thought to myself, that's actually kind of fun and pretty good. I defy you to say it's not. Not that I could hear you if you did. Here's Nikolai.
Must we say goodbye? Is my reply, my heart won't go down. Not in her, my bird, but I may have heard. I may have must we say goodbye? Is my reply, my heart won't go down. Not in her, my bird, but I may have heard. I may
See? It was pretty good, wasn't it? Come on. All right, this brings us to the last song on this album, and arguably one of the best ones that they did. It is The Land of a Thousand Dances, done by the entire WWF roster. The Land of a Thousand Dances was originally done by Cannibal and the Headhunters. This was way back in the 50s. Great song. It's the only one on this album that had a music video done by MTV. It had Rick Derringer in it, Cyndi Lauper, all the superstars, Meatloaf, which surprised me, on the drums for this song. It's a great one. Here's Everybody, Land of a Thousand Dances.
You got to know how to pony, like Pony Maroney.
You gotta know how to twist.
And it goes like this. You do the mashed potato. Now do the alligator.
Oh, you're such a yo-yo.
You got to move like the sheik. I said clap your hands. He said clap your hands. And then you move your feet. Oh, baby, to the beat. Come on now.
Come on, everybody, let's sing together.
One more time.
Come on, Bobby, tell them what to do.
And that is the Wrestling Hour. I had a great time doing this. If the response is right, I'd love to do another. Another album came out after this called Pile Driver, and we'll get into that one next time. I'm the Fat Cat. Enjoy the rest of your week.